Hey everyone, this is Lean and welcome back to the Crafty Meraki YouTube channel. Today I'm creating a love themed slimline card using this adorable Just Quillin stem set from Crafty Meraki. Now I'm starting with the coloring for today, so I stamped out these images on top of a piece of Transotype perfect coloring paper using some black Gina K Designs Amalgam ink. Now for the Copic coloring, I'm keeping it really simple today. I'm using one of my favorite combinations for the hedgehog. This is my favorite brown combination by far. And then I'm using the same combinations on all of the flowers. So I will show you one, but I won't show you everything just to not be too repetitive for you today. But these will all get the same colors because I thought about some colored cardstocks that I wanted to use today, and the colors of this combination just match perfectly with those cardstocks. Now, as you can see, I'm onto my second layer, and as you probably know from previous videos, on this paper I prefer at least 2 layers when I'm ink blending with my Copic markers. I think that gives a great result, and if I need to, I can always add more layers as well without any bleeding issues, so that's why I love this paper. And then I'm on to the next color combination. Really simple. There are quite a lot of color combinations that return when I am creating cards just because they work. But if perhaps you don't have one of the markers, then try a marker that looks similar to you, or try a marker that is only a few numbers away. That can always help. And if you're missing one of the markers in between, there is a tip-to-tip method. I don't have all Copic markers, so I know that the color combinations that I'm using are repetitive. But sometimes even this is one of my favorite brown combinations, but I also have another one where there is just one marker of a difference, or sometimes two, and all the rest stays the same. So it's really handy if you have a few markers. Often you can combine them already and get several combinations out of them. Now, as you can also see me doing, I'm using my colorless blender quite often. I am one of those people that really like to have all the things inside of the edges as it was foreseen to. But while I go outside the lines, that just happens. And what I do is just choose the colorless blender then and push that color back inwards. So here for the greens, also the stems and the worms, well, I think they are pink. Well, in Belgium they are pink, but I didn't want to overload the cards with all the pink, so I decided to balance it a bit out with the greens. So that's why these little worms are green. So now onto the flowers. A fabulous pink combination that I have used quite often myself in previous cards that I made, also on my own YouTube channel, is the RV 29, 25, 23 and 21. It's a lovely combination. When I first bought the markers and got them at home, I thought, oh my gosh, that's like fluo. that's really, really bright. But combining them together is so lovely. I love this combination. And the cardstock that I'm going to use later on is Ballet Slipper and Honeysuckle. These are from Concord and 9th. It's one of the only brands where I have the whole assortment from because it's limited still. And I just am in love with Ballet Slipper. It's one of those cardstocks that is running out all the time in my craft room because it's just so gorgeous. It's that subtle, soft pink that you need. And then the Honeysuckle is the bright, in-your-face, darker pink that you can really see returning in this flower. And I just love the combination of this flower with the cardstock. So that was the whole purpose of this color combo. But I love it and I hope you do too, because it's addictive. Maybe I should put a warning on this screen, like the combination is addictive. I think I tried it out on this card, but I saved the card to share it only now with you. And then well, the same day I made 3 other cards using this combination. So warning, if you get started, you end up with a lot of cards with this combination. So for the background, as you saw in the beginning, I'm using the Love Orbit Meraki Para-dies. It's an amazing slimline die Paradise for Crafty Meraki, and I cut it out of the pink as well as the darker pink, well, both pinks, so the Ballet slipper and the Honeysuckle. Now the lovely thing about this, I'm going to use the frame of the darker one, and well, I wanted to also have the stitching detail from the inside frame, but that I wanted to have in the light pink, so get it out of both. And the lovely thing about this is you have a frame, really handy to make shakers with it. But then you also have these amazing stitching details, and if you don't combine your circles that you cut out and the frame, then you have a frame separately and 4 circles which you can use on other cards as well. So I kept the darker circles that I'm not choosing today on the back of this die in my storage pockets, just to use on another card when I want to. And that's always handy, I think, if you die cut things and you can use it in several ways, then it's more buck for your money. I have no idea how the expression is. But so maybe you're laughing now and maybe you think, yeah, you're right, okay. But I love that. So here I inlaid the circles. I'm going to lift up the frame. I'm using these Darice foam strips. They are perfect. Also, if you would make a shaker with it, I really recommend these strips because it's the perfect height. It's easy to bend. It's really friendly in use. Now, I'm adding this frame on my panel. And I first was a bit too quick. It wasn't aligned straight. So sorry for the baby hairs that are in front of the camera from time to time. I'm just trying to align it well, and I wanted those flowers to be on the edge as well as underneath. Well, you see, there is a lot of dimension. Next up, I'm going to add all those images as well. Again, using these strips. You don't have to, but I wanted some of the images to be on the same height as the frame. And then it's always handy if you can use the same adhesive to help you with the height and just balance that out. Also going to use some liquid glue and just adding everything on there. So these two are a couple, in my opinion, on this card at least. And then you have the hedgehog that is thinking about, well, the loved one. I contemplated about adding a sentiment on top of the pink, the darker pink one, and inlay it. It's an option, but I ended up not succeeding in that. So I stamped out this sentiment, well, I heat embossed it, on top of mushroom cardstock. It's a lovely grey one. And I just used some white embossing powder. And then I heat set it using my heat gun. A little tip if you're new to heat setting things and embossing powder and such, if you preheat your heat gun ahead of time before going to your paper, you can sort of avoid all the curling up. And then I prefer starting on the back and turning to the front with my heat gun. Now to cut this sentiment out, I'm terrible in cutting it free-handed or with my paper trimmer even, so I found these sentiment strips in the Blueprints 27 from My Favorite Things. Just used it. Going to add the sentiment as well, again trying to have the same height, so I'm using the strips again. And then it's time to embellish this card. And I don't know what you think about the pink now, but don't you think that it's the same pink on the flower as on the frame? I think it's adorable. Okay. Trying to get the sentiment straight using my T-square ruler. And then I recently bought these Valentine jewel mix from Pretty Pink Posh. And the pinks, you know, I can repeat myself now, but it's a perfect pink inside of this sequin mix for the papers that I used. I think it's stunning. So the same day, again, using the same Copic combination, I also used these sequins. Well, you know, sometime life. So once I was happy with placement of these sequins, I added them using some liquid glue. But it took me a while, you see. It was a pain. The sequence placement is always a pain. There are barely, well, I think I can count the cards on my fingers, on my one hand, where I succeeded in laying out the embellishment really quickly. And I'm making cards for 3 years now. So, funny fact. Adding the liquid glue, going to use an embellishment wand to get everything in place. And then, no, I'm not finished yet. Then I'm going to take, sorry, I cannot speak anymore. Then I'm going to take my glossy accents and add just a few tiny details. Now, first of all, the flowers, but you can also add stickles. I contemplated about adding sequins there. And then I decided, well, it's cute if the hedgehog has those shiny eyes and the nose. So I added that there as well. Added it to the dots of the worms, and then I called this card finished. So this is it, my card for today. I had so much fun creating it. I love these Copic combinations, so I hope you do too. I want to thank you all for stopping by, taking the time to watch this video. If you liked it, you can always give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the Crafty Meraki YouTube channel to never miss a card making video ever again. Thank you so much, and I will be back soon with some new crafty inspiration. Bye!